Hello to all. This is my newest video. It's the 3 and 5 color knit hat. It's for toddlers, kids, teens, and adults. You can do it in 3, 4, 5, 6, any amount of color combinations you like. I like the 3 and I like the 5 because with the 3 you can get a nice combination of colors. If you want to really jazz it up, you can do 5 colors or just do 2 colors. So you just repeat different ones throughout as you go. Now when you're doing the infant hat, you would stop after you do the web, because if you add this extra bar, it would be too wide for their head because you still got to do your ribs and you got to decrease your top. So to find this particular pattern, you go to stitchniche.com. When you get to the home page, you click on the word shop. Let me enlarge this a little bit so it's a little easier to see. Then you would wind up on this page here. You would click on patterns. And when you get to the next page, you would, if you want, you can go to the eyeglass, or you can do that instead of going here. It's up to you. And type in 3 and 5 color hat. And this is what will come up. As you can see, I put several color combinations on it. And I put samples of different color combinations for color A, B, and C. Now you can do your own colors. That's why I put this here. So as you follow it where it says change to color B, change to color A, you'll know your A, B, and C. On this page, you can see a representative of a 5 color. And as you go through the pattern, you'll get to the section here with the wrist warmers. So it actually does the same thing with the wrist warmer. And on the very last page, I've added all of these samples of all the different color combinations I've done in the 3 color hat only. Now, like I said, you can do it in any combination you like. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of go through it rather quickly because if I tried to knit the whole thing, it would take several hours and we don't have time for that. I'm going to try to make it all in one, but I may have to make it a 2-parter. But when you start, you decide whether you want to do a kit, infants, kids, or adults. You cast on the amount of stitches you need. I've got that right here. Let me get this taken off here. Okay, and I said I'm going to go through all the different sets. Now what I like to do is cast on 1 extra stitch. I have a way that I finish it, which I think is kind of neat. Let me get this out of the way. After you cast it on the amount of stitches required, this one is 80 stitches, but like I said, it can be any amount. After you cast on, in this case, 81, I slipped the first one off the left needle. I'll enlarge this a little bit more for you. And then, like you're binding off, take the first one on the right needle, slide it over the one on the left needle. Now you've got your 80 stitches, pull it tight, and you place your marker. Now you would begin with the basic knit 1, purl 1 for 8 rounds. I'm not going to do 8 rounds, but I'll definitely show you how to get started. You start with a knit. These needles are a little bit too long to be comfortable. Bring your yarn to the front because you want to do a purl because that's the way the rib is. Yarn over, bring it through. Get this over a little more. There we go. Then you knit 1, yarn in front, purl 1, yarn in back, knit 1. That one's, I split that stitch. Let me get this one over. There we go. And yarn in front, purl 1. Now you just repeat this around and around and around. Knit 1, purl 1. I'm lazy. I don't like to waste time doing that. What I do is as I knit it, I bring the yarn over. And then when I take the stitches off the left needle, the yarn is in the back. So I would knit. Before I take it off, I just bring it in front. And there it is. And when I purl, I put the yarn over the needle. It's the same thing. I just like to do it that way. It's just my crazy way of doing it. So after you get that part finished, your project will look like this with all these ribs on it. Maybe I should bring this here. That's a little better. So you can see These are your knits and there are your purls, and when you turn it over, it's the same thing. Now this is my 8 rolls, so then the next thing you would do, you would change, oh, I'm sorry, blocks. You would change to color B. In this case, color B is my light green. So you bring your, I got 2 stitches left to do here, so I gotta knit 1, bring the yarn to the front, purl 1. Okay, slide your marker. Now we're going to start with the blocks. We're going to, with color B, you're going to knit around 2 rounds completely. Now I'm not going to take the time to knit around 2 rounds because that is a waste of your time and mine, because we all know how to knit. But I will go ahead and knit around once. Just hold the yarn behind your work with your finger so it's back there. And then you just start knitting. Whoops, it slipped off. You put it back on. Okay, so you knit. You knit all the way around. This would be the section here we're working on. Like I said, I'm not going to do all of it because basically we all know how to knit. I will knit 1 round around because you're going to have to see how I do the emerald green. It's done a little different, so I do have to go around at least once. I'm not going to do the second round. You can figure that part out because it's just plain old knit. I just need to get around once. Maybe I should have done the smaller size, then it would only been 76 stitches instead of the 80. But since I already started it with 80, I have to finish it. I'll keep an eye on the time. If I get much past 15 to 20 minutes, I'll probably stop the video and call this part 1 and pick up a second video and call it part 2. I don't know if there's a way I can join the 2 together through YouTube and it'll show part 2 right after part 1. I'll have to contact YouTube and find out if that's something that can be done, because it would be ideal if it's possible. Otherwise, you're going to have to go and search and find part 2 of the video. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to call it. Possibly 3 and 5 color hat part 1, 3 and 5 color hat part 2. Like I said, we'll know when we get there. I'm almost halfway around. I have several different phases here to show all the different pieces that you would do to do this hat. I'm 3/4 around, so it's not too bad. Probably take it about a minute and a half. I just hate doing this because to me this is a waste of time. I don't have a video editor that I can splice together with. I wish I had one. If anybody knows of one out there that I could use to make these videos go more seamlessly, leave it down in the comments at the bottom, because I would love to find one that would really, really work. It would save a lot of this downtime. As you know, I hate doing downtime. It's just a waste of your time and mine. Oh, I'm just about finished with round 1. Like I said, there's actually 2 rounds to this, but to speed it up, I'm just doing round 1. And just repeat it one more time, and then you'll have round 2. And I'll show you how to do the wrap on the back side. Now, I'm not a conventional knitter. I do believe in knots. They say there's no knots in knitting, but I do believe in knots, especially with hats, because they get pretty rough use. So what I do is turn my work over. I'll just set it on here. And I take both ends and do a square knot, right over left and left over right. Then I know it's not going to go anywhere. Okay? Now, the part 2 would be with color A, which is our emerald. Knit 2, slip 2, while keeping the yarn in back when you do the 2 slips. And you want to slip them loosely. You don't want them tight. So what I'll do is slide this over, grab the green yarn, the emerald yarn, make sure it is over, grab the emerald yarn, make sure it's over top the, I guess it's sage color yarn. That helps wind it and twist it as you go up. So you're going to knit 2. I won't do all of this, I'll just do a few of them. And then you slip 2. So slip 1, slip 2. Now when you get ready to knit again, you pull this back, So when you do your yarn over, you've got a long stretch of green yarn that would cover the back side of the two sage ones. And you want to leave it loose. And knit the second one. Then slip two, slide it back a little ways. When you get ready to knit it, you make sure you have plenty of thread over top of your two sage. Yarn over and knit it. Knit the second one. Oops, I slipped off. Now you can slip them individually like I did, or if you want, you can slip two at a time. Whichever works best for you. They both are the same. Make sure you slide it down so you have that space. And then you knit two, and you do this around for 2 rounds. And after you do 2 rounds, then you do 2 more rounds of the sage. And that gives you 2 rounds of sage. It's kind of hard to see. It'll be 2 rounds of sage here, 2 rounds of the emerald, and 2 rounds of sage. And here's where you've done the slip. If you look really close, see if I can enlarge it. You can see where these are 2 stitches because it's 2 rounds. This particular one is only 1 stitch because you stretched it up. So if I was doing that at this point, I would slip it just like I would if it was on the next row. You would still keep slipping these same 2. You slip these 2, slip these 2, slip these 2. So they'll go up 1 more round, but you would knit the emerald one, which in this case would be these 2. So you'd knit, knit, slip, slip, knit, knit, slip, slip all the way around. Okay, now after you've got that part done, then we want to go to the stripes. The stripes, I changed a little bit. This I didn't care for it. It looked too chunky. Let me pull this down. So what I did was I added an extra pale color in between. So it kind of gave me a different look. And then of course I've changed it again since then. And now it's this way, where you've only got 2 colors. Now if you want, you can put a 3rd color in there. You can even put a whole different color like red or green or orange, whatever you want. The colors choices are your own. But this is the way we're doing it at this time, where you've got just the 2 color combinations. So let me grab the next one, which will be this one here. Get this out of the way. We're going to do the stripes, where you start with color C. Now this one, color C, is going to be my emerald green. But if you look at the back, you can see that I've slightly twisted up a little bit. You'll be able to see it better when I get a little further up on my next 2 or 3 pieces. Let me get this out of the way. It's a challenge working with multiple yarns, but when you're done, it's so worth the challenge. I've got a little tangled. Give me a second while I untangle this. There we go. Okay, same thing. You would hold the yarn behind your work, and we would start with color C, knit 2 rounds. Well, first I got to finish this green one. Okay, slip my marker, pick up the next yarn, and you're knitting around, just like we did before. Knit every one. Okay, and at this point I turn it over, and I would tug on the white one a little bit. See when I tug on it, how it kind of pulls it up a little? And then on the outside, it's going to make this really big fat stitch tighten up a little bit. So see, it's not quite as fat. I can always tighten a little bit more too. You're going to do this throughout the entire thing. Each time you want to pull the previous color, and you'll know which color to pull because it will be loose, and you'll be able to know when to stop pulling it. So at this point, you want to bring your green yarn under your other 2 colors. That should have been done back here. Let me go back. I hate to show you the wrong way. Okay, I'll just go back too, because I just started that. All right, so you want to bring your green yarn around the other 2. And then continue knitting. I'll go around once. We're at 15 minutes and we're only on part 3, but we still have 1, 2, 3 more to go. So we'll go ahead and finish this one. I'll probably wind up at the 20-minute mark. So we'll probably end this one at the 20-minute mark. and then continue on the next one. Unless I can get this going fast, and then we won't have to worry about it. I need to knit around at least once, but we'll pretend like I've knitted around twice, because that's what the pattern calls for. And then the next, we'll pick up the next color, which I'm not sure which one it is. I'll have to look and see. And I'll show you how to pick up one color and continue on around with the one color. As you would do 2 rows of emerald, then 1 roll of color A, which in this case is white. Then you do 1 roll in color C, which is the emerald, and then 1 color in color A again, and then 2 in color C, which is emerald. And that gives you what I call the blocks. I'm sorry, no, the stripes, not the blocks. Pretty obvious. It's just straighten it all the way around. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate. I just want to go around because I like to show you how to pick up the color from the previous roll and carry it up, and how to tweak it if you need to tweak it, or I guess tighten it a little bit. Because if you tighten it, you can't see where you're switching from one color to the other. If you don't tighten it, you'll see this one really big stitch, and sometimes it winds up looking like that, and you don't really want that. Because if I just tugged on that just a little bit, it would have been as loose, as tight as these. I'm more than halfway. We're doing pretty good. And you can always stop and pause it in between each section so you can actually knit along with me. You can pause it after you get started on this round and wait to resume it when I get ready to change to color A. We're just about there. I won't do the rest of them because they're all will be done the same way. So this is just your how-to part. I'm almost to the end. Looks like I have 4 left. Okay. And then you slip your marker. Now before you do your next stitch, you want to see like you change to color A. And color A in my case is the beige color. So pull this one up, pull the green one up, and tug it to make sure if it needs to be tugged. In this case it does, it's nice and taut. Then grab your white and tug on it, and it's tight so you don't have to worry about it. Now see, the white is underneath, which is in a good spot. So you want to keep it underneath and bring it around the other 2. And continue. I'd already tugged the white earlier when I showed you how I did it. So this is how you would do round 3, and then you'd pick up your emerald and do round 4, then pick up your white and do round 5, then your emerald again for 6 and 7. So I won't do those because it's very repetitive. Let me get these out of the way now. Okay, and then we'll get to the next page, the next section. The next section is what I call, well, there's another set of blocks, which is this again. And I'm not going to repeat it because we all know how to do the blocks because we've already done it. So we're going to jump straight to the web, because here you can see I've done the block, the stripes, and the other blocks. And if you look on the inside, because I've been wrapping and tugging, it stays nice and snug. And you'll only have 1 tail of each color to weave in. Otherwise, if you break each yarn, you'd have to weave in each tail. And as you can see, there's a lot of tails. So I just do it this way and I don't have the tails. Okay, so let's go to the web. 20 and 21, you do color C. And in my case, on this one, color C is the beige. And you knit 2 rounds. So I've already knitted the 2 rounds since we know how to knit them. Then 22 and 23, we change to color A. And this is where we start this interesting little web design. It's really easy. You only use 1 color at a time. Now you can see there's the beige. And there's the rose I need. And then I've got the pink. The balls are a little bit twisted together. That's what happens when you work with a whole bunch of balls. Okay. So I want the rose next, right? Color A. Right. So you want to make sure the 2 other colors are above the rose because we want the rose underneath. Now you want to tug and make sure everything is nice and snug. See, that one's nice and snug. That one's nice and snug, and we just did that. Okay, so bring the yarn under. Oh, we got 1 more blonde one to do here. Let's grab it, slip. All right, so now we knit one, slip one, and we just repeat that all the way around. So knit one. Now you want to keep these loose because you're slipping one. So you don't want to really tug this tight because it's going to really tighten this part of the hat. So make sure it stays a little loose. Knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one. And you slip as if to purl. Knit, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one. And you just do that all the way around. And as you see, you're only using one yarn, but it looks like you're working with two. Now round two is the exact same. As soon as you get back over to here, well, I guess we can do one. We'll go ahead and go around once. It seems like it makes it easier if we go around. Okay, slip one, knit one. By slipping one, it goes a little bit faster because we're only knitting every other stitch. And make sure you keep a little bit of looseness in between so the stitches don't kind of pucker in and get really tight, because it's real easy for this particular design to kind of get tight. Slip, knit. I know I'm going a little fast, but you slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one. As you see, I leave a little bit of space. Probably should leave more like this. You don't want them too tight. Slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one. Get some more yarn out. Even though you're only knitting every other one, you still use up quite a bit of yarn. I hope you didn't mind me showing off what my son is doing. He really is into Halloween, and he's really into the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 car. That's why I put him on my YouTube. Normally I don't, but I just really had to brag on him just once. I don't plan on bragging on him anymore because this is my side and he has his own. I think he calls it Blue Dakota 80. If you want to see more of the mausoleums and the statues and the other cemetery props, along with how he made that Ecto 1 and all that neat stuff inside. He's made the power packs. I forgot what they're called, laser something, so I can't remember. And he made a control board. And the lights, I don't know if they flash, but I know you can turn them on and off. He's just real clever when it comes to electronics. Okay, get back to this. Just about done. Slip one, knit one, slip one. And when you slip one, you should be ready to knit again. So the same thing, you want to make sure your next color you're doing, which in this case is the same shade. Let's get this. Since it's on top and over here, you got to make sure you wrap it around. So bring your yarn over top and underneath, because you got to make sure it's all twisted in. And with this, you want to make sure this is tight. You want to make sure, see this one, I had to tighten it up. See how I had some tightening I had to do with it? This one is fine. But then you would knit, slip, knit, slip, and you just keep repeating this. Okay, so round two is repeating round one. Round three, you would do in the off-white all the way around, just knit evenly all the way around with color C, which is the beige. And then you go back 25 and 26, you pick up A again. In this case, instead of knit and slip, you want to slip then knit. That causes it to jog over and give you that nice, neat web look. And then the next one is a complete roll of knit, and then you do another one with color A, which is the rose color, but in this case it's knit then slip. So knit slip, then slip knit, and then knit slip for 2 rounds, and then you finish off with color C. So that'll be the next section. Then after you finish the web, then you're ready to start the children's. Let's see. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm on the right one. If you're stopping at this point because you're doing the infant, because it can only be 5 inches, this is about 5 inches. So you wouldn't do the other bar like we did here. You go straight into the ribbing with color A. In this case, color A is purple. You want to, where'd it go? I lost it. Right here. You knit one round first. I found out if you don't knit one round first, you get this effect where you get these little dashes in between. I did this one on purpose, so you got all these dashes in between because I went straight to knit, purl, knit, purl. If I had knitted the first round completely and then started the knit, purl, it would have this really smooth look like you see here. So if you ever have to switch from knit, stockinette to a rib, if you do one roll of knit with your new color first, then the other color blends in really beautiful. So in this case, you knit one. Oh, see, I've already wrapped it around. Knit one, purl one. This is same as what we did on the bottom. Knit one, purl one, yarn in back, knit one, yarn in front, purl one, yarn in back, knit one, and you repeat this for 6 rounds. I'm sorry, 4 rounds. You do it for 4 rounds for the toddler. For kids and adult, you want to do 6 rounds. Now, if you're doing the adult sizes, which is a teen and adult, you want to do one more set of blocks, which is this. But for the babies, you don't have to. So let me go to this one, because this one is done. And I've already started the decreases. I've done the first 2 decreases, 6 and 5. Now I'm ready to do the 4, but it's too tight. I can't get it all the way around. So at this point, I get to switch to double pointed. It's not my favorite, but it really makes it easier. Let me put a marker. Okay, so I start, get this out of the way. I usually start by knitting one, tugging on it a little bit because you're working with double pointed. Then I place a marker. Because if you can place the marker before the knit one, since you have 2 needles side by side, the marker will fall off. So if you knit one and then place the marker, you always know where your first round is because the marker is still there. So you would knit 4, because I'm on the 4th set, 2, 3, 4, and then knit 2 together. Then you knit 4. I usually wind up putting 3 sets of these decreases per double pointed needle. Sometimes the last double pointed needle only winds up with 2, but that's okay, as long as I know they're all taken care of. And each time you go around, it's less and less and less. Okay, so I've done 3 of them there, so now I pick up my new needle. And you knit the first one. Now when you get ready to knit the second one, you want to give a little tug and then do the second one. That brings these 2 close together, otherwise you may get a gap. And we definitely don't want a gap. So I found just after you knit the first one, if you tug before you do the second one, it closes any little gap you might wind up with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. So that's 2 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now sometimes when I do this, I don't know how, but I wind up with 1 or 2 odd stitches at the very end. I just knit them. I don't worry about them. When I get to the end of the hat, it all works out. I have a feeling I didn't do enough on that needle, so I'll do 1 more on this needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, knit 2 together. Now what I can do is take these and put them on this needle when I come around again. All right, so let's finish up. So you start with, oops, don't want that to fall off. Knit 1. When you get ready to knit the second one, tug on it a little bit, tighten it up. Knit 2, 3, 4. Now these needles will kind of get in your way a bit. That's just the nature of the beast. You just have to kind of work around them, let them go where they want to go, and you won't be struggling it so much. If you try to force them to go somewhere they don't want to go, then you have a tendency to drop them. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I knit two together, I have one odd stitch. That's okay. Like I said, just knit the odd stitch, pretend it's not there. By the time you get all the way around and down to the last one stitch is not going to make or break it, because you'll be down to maybe 8 or 9 stitches when you get to the top of the hat. So now the next one is knit 3, knit 2 together. So we come back to, now we know this is our beginning because there's our marker. So we knit the first one. Now it's loose. Slide our marker. Get ready to knit the second one. Tug it. See how it brought it up? Yarn over. So that's 2, 3, knit 2 together. Oh, we need to pull this up a little bit. Definitely don't want to lose our stitches. We put too much work into this to lose them now. 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together. 1, 2, 3. I did not bring my sewing needle. I am so sorry I can't finish off the top. It's not fair to you for me to walk away to go grab one, so I'll just kind of talk you through it because I don't see a spare needle here on the table. I really thought I brought it, but I guess I didn't. Knit 1, tug it to tighten it, knit 2, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together. We've only got 3 more rounds to go, and each round is less and less because each round, see, I cut off the yarn we didn't need, because once you finish using the color, you can cut it off, and then you can weave it in later. 1, pull it tight, 2, 3, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together. Oops, I missed. We're almost done. 2 more rounds and the hat will be finished. 2, 3, and we got our odd stitch left, but that's okay. We just knit our 2 together and knit our odd one. Okay, so now this one, we're at the 2s. Let me pull that red inside. It's bothering me. There. Okay. So this one is knit 2. Slide the marker. Tug 2. Knit 2 together. Knit 2. 1, 2, 2 together. 1, 2, 2 together. We're getting so close to being done, and each round is less and less and less stitches, so it does go faster. Now this one doesn't want to cooperate for some reason. Knit 1, tug, knit 2, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 2 together, 1, 2, 2 together. We're getting there. 1, 2, 2 together. Okay. 1, tug it, 2, 2 together. 1, 2, 2 together. 1, 2, 2 together, and we still have our one odd one. Okie dokie. We'll take care of that odd one on the next round, because the next round is knit 1, knit 2 together. So we're going to knit 1, slip our marker, tug, oh, sorry about that, knit 1, tug, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, knit 1, Now this particular yarn is Plymouth Encore. I do carry this in my shop, and I also sell it on my website, stitchniche.com. I got the neon colors, which this is the neon green and the neon yellow. It also comes in neon pink and neon orange. And they're all really neat colors, but you can also combine these neon colors with the bright red and with the royal blue or any other match. Like here I put it with just the red and with the two neons, and it worked out really well. I didn't bother with the pink or the orange. So you can mix and match any way you want. As you can see, each of the ones I've done are different color combinations. We're just about done. Okay, this is where we're going to take care of that odd stitch. So we're going to knit one, tug, knit two together, knit one, knit two together. Now you see we have four, so instead of one and two together, I'm just going to knit two together twice. It doesn't show, but it's a great way to get rid of that oddball. Now we're on down to the final round. And the final round says just to knit two together. You'll have 9, 10, 12 stitches depending on how it works out. So let's see. Whoops, I accidentally pulled my needle out. Put these back in real quick. Yeah, I know I've got to fix that one too, but I just want to get this put back together real quick. That's the only drawback with double pointed needles. Okay, let me fix these two. These go knit together. There, now it's all fixed. Now we're back to where we're supposed to be. And I'm not worried about the marker falling off because we're now on the last row. So the last row is you knit two together all the way around. That's why I went ahead and did this, because I wanted an even amount. I got 1, 2 to go together, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's why having that odd one there would kind of be awkward. You could leave it, but I always like to kind of fill it in. Okay, now knit two together, knit two together. I hate not finishing this, so I might step away for just a second and see if I can find that needle real quick and a pair of scissors. They both should be in the drawers directly behind me. So you may just have to hang on just a second or two while I go and grab it, because I really like to show you how I finish these hats. There we go. And now we're down to the last set of knitting two together. Now you could also use two 24-inch needles to do this, or you can use the 32-inch magic loop to do this. All the ways work great. You can't do it with a regular 16-inch circular needle because, as you can see, you're way down here to only 9 stitches. And I said here I'd have 10 left, but I have 9. Okay, let me grab that needle real quick. Please hang on. I'm hurrying as fast as I can. Good. I found it really quick. Excellent. All right. So after you have these finished, you pull yourself a nice long tail. It's better to have too much than not enough. I give myself pretty close to 2 feet. Then you thread your needle. Now the way I thread mine is I lay the yarn over the needle. Let me do it on paper, over the paper, because you can see it better. Squeeze it really tight between my fingers, and then slide the needle off, and you see just a itty bitty little dot. Now if you set the eye of the needle on that dot and slowly saw back and forth as you slowly release your fingers, it'll slide right in. I'll do it sideways. Okay, so I pull it tight, and you got that little dot. Put the needle on top, and as you saw your needle slowly, whoops, let me get it started, saw your needle slowly, and you release your fingers, it's there. So that's a great way to do it, and you don't need to worry about a needle threader. Now the next part, you start where you left off, which would be these, because that was the last one you did. So you want to start with these, slide all 3 of them onto the needle, your tapestry needle. Then your next 4, and your last 3, or depending on how many you have on your needles, 3, 3, and 3, 4, 3, and 3, whatever it works out to. Now you can almost see it. I wish you could see it a little bit better, But you can kind of see where you've got your thread inside the loops. You want to go around one more time. Go through each of the loops if you can one more time. It just really secures that top thread so it doesn't come loose. Little extra security never hurts. Then you pull it tight, and then when you pull it tight, you don't have a hole anymore. Now what I do at this point is I go through a couple just to be safe. Then you put the needle down through the middle and bring it to the back. Now I'm not sure how the professionals do it. I just go around one more time just to make sure it's nice and secure, and then I do a knot because I want to make sure it doesn't come undone. And I go across to the other side. I stay on the top side of these stitches. I try not to get underneath in any way. And I'll do it one more time just to be safe. And then feed it through again. There. And then when you tie it off, it gives you a nice finished look. Now when you get to the inside, you can see how the threads have just wound their way up. And then you do the same thing here. I do a square knot because I love my square knots. I never have to worry about them coming loose. Then grab your needle, thread it again, and weave it through. You can either go horizontally across if you like, or you can go down, whichever way you want. And I always go back through. I found if I go back through, I kind of catch the thread a little bit because I wind up going through and splitting the thread. When I go through and when you split the thread, it really knots. It won't come undone. And then trim it off and do the same with this one and these two. And at that point, your hat is done. Thank you for watching.